Last week, I described a woman who holds it all together, the one who has been strong and capable, the one that the axis around which everything turns is on her, and who is pretty exhausted by it all. And I heard from several women that they didn't know it even had a name, or most women thought that was just who they were. As women over 50, we've spent a lifetime building our identity around being the one who never let anything fall. I don't know about you, but at one point in my life, I began to wonder, what would happen if I let it fall? Tonight, we're going to talk about letting it go. Not the dramatic, throw everything away kind of letting go, but the kind that's gentle and intentional. The kind that says, I can put this down without losing who I am. If you're looking for a way to live more intentionally, to break the generational patterns that have kept you over functioning, this is where to begin. Welcome to the return. For just this time, you are not the mother, the partner, the spouse, not the woman who holds it all together. You are just you. Take a nice deep breath with me, in through the nose and out through the mouth. Good. Tonight is part 2 of our conversation about overfunctioning. Last week was about seeing the pattern, and this week is about the very first steps of releasing it. And I want to start with something important. Letting go is not the same as giving up. It's not the same as becoming irresponsible or uncaring or passive. The kind of letting go we're talking about tonight is the act of intelligence. It's your wiser self saying, I don't have to carry everything to be worthy of love. Before we talk about practices, we need to talk about why it's so hard. It's not hard because you're stubborn or controlling. It's hard because letting go activates the oldest fear the overfunctioner carries. If I'm not needed, who am I? And for women who built their identity around being the dependable and strong one, the one who keeps the world running, letting go can feel like an identity crisis. And in a way, it is, not because you're losing yourself, but because you're meeting a version of yourself you've never been allowed to be. The version that rests, the version who receives, the version who doesn't have to earn her place by being useful. That woman has been waiting for you. She's the one your soul has been calling you towards. But your nervous system, that part of you that still believes safety equals control, it's going to resist that union. So we go slowly, we go with compassion, and we give the nervous system what it needs. Small, safe experiments that prove letting go does not mean falling apart. And I don't want you to think of these practices as tools for self-improvement. We've all had plenty of those, and they have never touched the real problem. The Thrive by Design women's alignment method is more than an act of permission. Each step is small, quiet, and it tells our nervous system we're allowed to rest, that you're allowed to be imperfect, that you're all allowed to need. Because those three permissions, rest, imperfection, and need, are the ones the over-functioning woman has denied herself for the longest time. And they are the doorway to return to her authentic self. The first practice is what I call the intentional handoff. And here's how it works. Sometime this week, identify one task that you've been doing, something you do regularly, that is not exclusively yours, something another person in your life is perfectly capable of handling. Maybe it's meal planning or scheduling the repair person or remembering their appointments or remembering to send a birthday card to someone in the family. Just pick one and hand it off. Now, here's the hard part. And I need you to hear this. It will not be done the way you would do it. It might be done late. It might be done differently. It might not be done at all the first time. And you are going to have to let that be okay. This is where the overfunctioner's nervous system screams the loudest. Because it's not really about the task. It's about the belief underneath. If I don't do it, it won't be done right. And underneath that, if things aren't done right, something bad will happen. And underneath that, I am only safe when I am in control. The intentional handoff interrupts the entire chain, not by arguing with it, just by showing your nervous system one small experience at a time. That letting go does not lead to catastrophe. That imperfection is survivable. That other people can hold things too. I want to tell you something that happened to me with this practice because it taught me more than I expected. I handed off something small, and I won't say what because the specifics don't really matter. What matters is that the person I handed it off to did it differently than I would have. Not wrong, just different. And every cell in my body wanted to step back in to correct it, to redo it, to take it back. But I didn't. I let it be different. And an amazing thing happened. I felt lighter. And it wasn't because the task was done my way, but because I had proven to myself that my way was not the only way. And that the world could absorb a little imperfection and actually keep turning. Well, that moment was worth more than 100 conversations about letting go because my body and my nervous system felt it. And a tiny piece of the pattern, that the piece that said, only I can do it right, significantly loosened its grip. The second practice is related to the pause that we talked about in the people pleasing episode, but it's different in one important way. When you see something that needs to be done, the dishes, the scheduling conflict, the emotional situation in the family that needs managing, instead of stepping in immediately, just pause and ask yourself one question. Is this mine? Not can I do it? Because of course you can. You can do almost anything. That was never the question. The question is this mine to carry? Sometimes the answer is yes, and sometimes you are the right person and it is your responsibility, and stepping in is the aligned thing to do. But sometimes, and more often than you might expect, the answer is no. It's someone else's responsibility, or it's no one's responsibility, or it's something that will work itself out without your intervention. The overfunctioner rarely asks this question because she was trained to believe everything is hers. Every gap, every need, every problem. Asking, is this mine? Is a radical act for a woman who has never been given permission to put something down. So I'm giving you that permission right now. You are allowed to ask, and you are allowed to answer honestly. Let me give you an example of how this works in practice. Let's say you're at a family gathering and you notice the dishes are piling up. The old pattern says, get up and do them. Nobody else will. And maybe that's true. Maybe nobody else will notice for another 30 minutes. But here's the question. Is this yours? The dishes will still be there in 30 minutes. Someone else may get up or they may not. And either way, you are allowed to stay seated. You are allowed to be present in the conversation instead of managing the kitchen. You are allowed to let something be undone. I know how radical that sounds for a woman who has spent 45 or 50 years filling in all the gaps. But this practice isn't about neglecting responsibility. It's about discerning the difference between what is genuinely yours and what you've been carrying simply because no one else picked it up. And that discernment, that quiet internal sorting, is one of the most important skills a woman can develop. It is the beginning of living intentionally instead of reactively. The third practice is one I love, and it's designed for the time of day when overfunctioners struggle the most, the evening. That window between dinner and sleep when the mind wants to run through tomorrow's list, review everything that didn't get finished today, and pre-solve problems that haven't happened yet. The evening release goes like this. Before you go to bed, before you go to sleep, close your eyes, take a breath, and say out loud or silently, I have done enough today. That's the whole practice. I have done enough today. Not everything is done, because it isn't, and it never will be. Not I did everything perfectly, because that's not the point. Just I have done enough. Your body needs to hear this, and your nervous system needs to hear this. The girl inside you who learned that her worth was measured by her output, she needs to hear this most of all. And over time, over weeks and months of this practice, something shifts. The evening anxiety softens and the mental list making becomes quieter. The body begins to believe what you're telling it, that you are enough, not because of what you produce today, but because of who you are. I want to share something about this practice that I find beautiful. When you first say, I have done enough today, your mind will immediately object. It will produce the list of all the things you didn't finish and all the emails you didn't send and the things still waiting. That is the overfunctioning mind doing its job. It has kept the list for decades and it's not going to surrender it easily. So you let the list come. Don't fight it. Just repeat gently. I have done enough today. After a week or two, something really interesting happens. The list still comes, but it arrives more quietly. It stays for a shorter time. And in the space it leaves behind, you begin to notice something else, a softness, a settling, a beginning of what rest actually feels like when it's not just the absence of work, but the presence of permission. That is your nervous system learning a new truth. That is healing. It's not dramatic or cinematic. It's just a woman in her bed with her hand on her heart, choosing to believe she is enough. Honestly, these practices, the handoff, the sacred pause, the evening release, they are real and they will help, but they are just the first steps. The pattern of overfunctioning has roots that go deep into childhood, into generational patterns, into beliefs about worth and safety and love that were formed before you had words for any of it. The practices I've shared tonight will start loosening the pattern, but to truly walk through it, to find the root truth beneath it, and to build a new way of being from that truth, that's longer, more guided work. And that's the work I do in the full alignment process. And if you're feeling drawn to go deeper, if these episodes have opened something in you that wants more, trust that feeling. It's your spiritual intelligence speaking. It's your deepest self saying, I'm ready. But for tonight, the 3 practices are enough. They're more than enough. Here is your seed for this week. Tonight, you lie down, put your hand on your heart, and say those 5 words. I have done enough. You don't have to believe them yet. Just let your body hear the words. Let your nervous system receive them. Let the woman inside you, the one who has been holding and carrying and managing for so many years, let her rest. She has earned it, and she doesn't need to earn it. To the woman who is learning to let go, not of who she is, but who she thought she had to be. You were never meant to carry it all. You were never meant to be the only strong one, the only steady one, the only one who holds the world in place. You were meant to be held too, You were meant to rest too. You were meant to live, not just manage, not just survive, not just function, but to live with softness, with presence, with your own two hands finally free. That is the return, and you have already begun. Rest well tonight. I'll see you in the next episode.